this is Sun Tzu for On Gamers, and I'm here with Savjz, captain of Team Curse. Your team had a pretty rough Dreamhack this time around. All three of you who made it to the event got eliminated in the first day. Was there something inside the team, like some planning for this event, some expectations that you see that might have contributed to this?
Well, it obviously was a big disappointment for all of us to get knocked out. Both me and Doc wanted we were seeded and dropped out in the group stages. KitKat actually went pretty far on the BYOC, so even though he didn't make it all the way, he actually did fairly well in the tournament overall. It was just a long grind. I think that we practiced a lot and we prepared a lot for this, but some mistakes were made, and the luck wasn't on our side this time around either, I think.
Yeah, that's true. KitKat's especially, like, he wasn't even the only guy with a big name who dropped out of the BYOC, like Lothar, Uskaka, a number of these guys who we all, I think, expected would probably be the favorites going into that. They all got eliminated. What do you see, sort of, how hard is it going into one of these BYOC tournaments, and how hard is it to be able to face that like broad unknown field?
Well, I actually have first-hand experience from last weekend when I was in Paris at Gamers Origin tournament, and I went through a field of over 200 and I actually won the whole thing. And it was really tough, and there were a lot of players who were not that good, to be honest, but there were a lot of good names too, and here even more so. There were a lot of great players in the BYOC, both known and lesser known players. And here the ones who made it through, for example Kaldi, Nabut, they are both very good players, and I think that compared to the knocked out names, they are on par with the more known players skill-wise.
Yeah. Now you've been known to build a lot of decks. You consistently keep on building these decks that get everyone a lot of success. And you also do really well in a lot of the smaller tournaments, but for some reason on the biggest stages you keep having some of the worst luck. What is it, sort of? Do you think it's just you've had a really bad run of luck, or do you feel some nerves going into these big stage events as well? And how do you try to work with that?
I think that overall I've been doing fairly well on the big stage too. When I first started out playing and the first fight nights, I was really nervous, but that's not an issue for me anymore at all. Yeah, the Dreamhack events have gone very poorly for me. I got knocked out here. I lost both of my matches, and back in Bucharest I lost on round 1. But it's not about nerves really. Here I think I actually slept kind of poorly. Okay, this sounds like an excuse, and I guess it is. But I feel today I feel way more refreshed and like ready to play. But sadly I'm out, so maybe something a little bit went wrong in the preparation in regards to that. Like I should have been here maybe earlier, or slept more, and there's also, like, I have some regrets on my shaman deck. I have no idea why I picked shaman. It was like last minute switch from handlock. I don't know why I did it. I was like scared of big game hunters and I was thinking everybody plays druid, but it would have been a way better choice. I want to add that I don't really think that in the end having the handlock would have made the difference, but this was definitely not a tournament that I was best prepared for. I have been prepared better before.
Yeah, and you mentioned Dreamhack Bucharest. We saw a very different kind of, it's more the traditional Dreamhack Open tournament setup that was used there. Here we saw a setup that Dreamhack's used before, for example in Dota. comparing the two setups, which one do you think is more favorable or favorable to you, or which one do you prefer playing in?
Definitely more the invitational stuff, at least partly. I know that it's kind of unfair for lesser known, very good players that they might not get like some people like here. Some people had to go through the BYOC and some people didn't, and it's kind of unfair. But I think that the viewers who watch the show, it's more fun for them to have maybe their favorite players playing and the more known names out here. And I want to add to that also that because I feel like most of the best players are here, and if there was no seeding, maybe the ones from North America, for example, would have not even showed up because they would it would be such an impossible task, and the risk of getting eliminated early would just not make it worth it to come at all. So in a way that even though it's an unfair system, I feel like it has to be at least partially invited system, so so that we can get the best players, and yeah.
Yeah, definitely. We talked to Reels a bit earlier, and he said that for him, just coming here was so expensive that he put all his focus into building a decks that could get him out of the groups, that really countered his opponents. Do you think that the money should perhaps, in future events, as the prize pools grow, that they should be spread out more, that there's sort of a base pay sort of for showing up at these events?
Yeah, it sounds like one option. I think it's also I'm hoping that more teams and more sponsors would get into the hot zone scene, so the travel expenses would maybe be better covered by the teams, and so that the players wouldn't have so much pressure to perform just to get their money back. So also like having the big names here, having the invitational system that I mentioned was unfair earlier, is also, I think, for growing the hot zone scene, it's very important, at least right now. So maybe in the future the teams and sponsors will cover the travels, and people would show up to even to the open ones. So the big names, I mean, would show up even to the open ones.
Yeah. There's another sort of thing here that when money is like all you're thinking about, in terms of something like this where you have to be creative or you have to see creative solutions, the studies actually show that sort of intrinsic motivators are a lot better for creative solutions, whereas extrinsic motivators, such as money, when you're thinking about money, you become less creative. So that's certainly a good point to bring up. Now, going back a bit to your deck building, I was always struck watching your stream and watching you build decks and watching the kind of decks that you came up with by how much you value card draw. Like, you really used to be one of the first ones to put so much card draw into your decks. How does that impact how you choose which classes to build decks for, and what kind of decks to build?
It impacts my decision making a lot. Like, I feel like I have a lot of experience and I have bigger advantages in long games and games that go as long as possible and involve as much decision making as possible than aggressive decks that kind of play themselves in my eyes. So I tend to drift towards as heavy, like, control type of decks as possible. If the meta demands an aggressive deck, then I will play it. But if I play, for example, on ladder deck, with which I run out of cards, like I have nothing in my hand, the chances are I am going to add some card draw. I never want to be out of options or out of cards or so. So, for example, here I was running double Azure Drake, double Angel of Lore, Druid, and Handlock with 0 power gives cards. Oh no, I didn't do that, but I was supposed to do that. I was supposed to learn Handlock, and then the Miracle Rogue, which has unlimited draws with the Auctioneer. So the card draws are important for long games, and also it gives you more options for every turn. So I like to have like a lot of cards and that type of decks. It's like my personal style.
Yeah, and you were originally really known for rogue play specifically. which of the rogue style decks that are out there right now do you think is the most fun to play? Is it still Miracle Rogue for you, or have you played it so much that it's starting to get a bit old?
I'm gonna be completely honest here. I'm gonna say that it's getting really old. I feel like I kind of have to play the deck. I wouldn't even want to play it anymore. It's like unless some changes are made, it's just gonna stick around for as such a force, preventing all sorts of other creative deck building options, and just I don't think it's healthy at all for the meta. I think that the Miracle Rogue right now is like even though the aggro rogue is fairly good against the Miracle Rogue, the aggro rogue suffers from many other bad matchups, and the general, like the common Miracle Rogue is so well rounded and with insane card draws. Yeah, it's OP.
Well, there you have it, guys. Even the greatest rogue player around doesn't like the Miracle Rogue anymore. This has been Sun Tzu for On Gamers, and we'll see you around.